company donates second-hand laptops to refugees in Serbia to support their learning and communication. A single mother from Pakistan is unable to work but vows to be a volunteer after receiving Tzu Chi's help. Welcome to Dai Headlines. I'm Simon Gan. Thank you for joining us. A company in Germany has donated laptops to Serbian refugee camps for 5 times since January of this year. With these second-hand laptops, the refugees can connect with their families and friends and also continue learning. Let's take a look.
Those people who left everything behind them, and this is a good opportunity for them to communicate with the outside world, with families and friends. I'm very happy about that.
This looks like a computer classroom. The users are trying to find their lost emotions through the laptop.
I'm using Facebook for contact with my family. I want to talk with my mom and dad, and I want to speak with them.
Another refugee cannot wait to connect to the website of Cisco System Inc. because he worked as an engineer at the Iran branch for 10 years.
The Serbia have a bridge for me to going to Europe. I must going to Europe to going to level up to this my job.
This is the refugee camp in Serbia. Through the help of Tzu Chi, Delta Electronics in Germany has donated second-hand laptops for the refugees to use.
We very appreciate that, and all of these donations are very, very precious to us.
According to the standards of Delta Electronics, these laptops were to be discarded. In order to donate them, the staff had to transport them from Germany to the Netherlands, where the hard drives were wiped clean, and transport them back to Germany for further refurbishing.
We had some problems during delivery. One of the boxes, which carried 12 laptops, got damaged because of the shipment, and we had to actually fix the laptop by our hands.
I remember the smiling faces of the refugees, and this is something what you can't buy, and this is here.
Typing the word Afghanistan, he misses his country. After replacing the screen and the hard drive, the laptops are good as new. The laptops act as windows to the outside world, while also they're yearning to continue learning.
Earlier this year, Beijing Tzu Chi volunteers visited Shijiazhuang Xigou for the first time. This township is filled with seniors whose children have grown and left home to work in the city. The community secretary often hosts meals for the seniors to help feed them. Tzu Chi volunteers also pay individual seniors a visit at home to further take care of their needs.
With the crisp autumn weather in the air, Tzu Chi volunteers from Beijing visit Xigou of Shijiazhuang. This community is made up of mostly seniors living on their own. Thus, the Township Association invited Tzu Chi to celebrate the upcoming holiday with the elderly.
When I was serving tea to the seniors, I reflected whether I do this at home for my own parents. I feel my heart spending one person at a time.
Continuing this heartwarming event, in the afternoon, volunteers separate into teams to conduct home visitations. Grandmother Shi's husband has difficulty walking due to a stroke. Thus, volunteers encourage him to get some exercise as rehabilitation.
Grandpa, you go outside and get some sun, but let's walk around the house first. You are doing so well.
With illness filling his body, the senior is often worried about burdening his other half. Volunteers comfort him and give him a gift.
Grandpa, I happened to bring you a new handkerchief. Look, yours is wet, so it should be washed. This way is more practical.
On this day, the township secretary, which has been a helpful guide to the volunteers, has seen the needs of the seniors in his community and formulated a new senior care plan.
This is a long-term movement, so we need to rally the young people of the community to mobilize their strength Everyone needs to be involved and help honor and nurture the elderly.
大家一块儿的去把这个敬老养老这个事发扬出去。
我深深地感觉到慈。
I deeply feel that Tzu Chi provides a spiritual and emotional fulfillment. It also brings a spiritual richness to others. I think that is I have taken away the most from being in Tzu Chi.
Beijing Tzu Chi volunteers pass down their experience to the Shijiazhuang volunteers in hopes of love taking root here in the community.
In Southern California and Dallas, Tzu Chi volunteers distributed school supplies and uniforms to the impoverished children, making them happy to go to school.
Tzu Chi Foundation Central Region has participated in the annual Mayor School Day. The volunteers are decorating the venue together. They are going to distribute school uniforms to the impoverished children.
It's helping me a lot because I really can't afford stuff. Like the shirts, they're really expensive. They cost like $15 each. Yeah, his is like $15. And I don't have like for her supplies because it's more. She's in first grade, so it's more supplies. So they cost more than, for me, it's gonna be like $40. So much for everything, for all your hard work in this hot weather. And I really appreciate it.
Me as a single parent, I work 4 jobs, and I'm still struggling trying to make ends meet sometime, and I want to work it. And a little bit, it helps out a whole lot during the year. Every little bit helps.
Tzu Chi youth communicate patiently with the parents who are not fluent in English, hoping that everyone can get the right size.
We have experienced 5 mayors in the past 15 years. The venue has changed from a small booth in the beginning to such a large area like today, which meets all our requirements. In the past 15 years, we have probably sent out about 60,000 uniforms.
Wilson Elementary School is located in San Bernardino, which is one of the poorest countries in the United States. The supplies that need to be prepared to start school are not a small expense for the Mexican families who have many children and a low income.
I have 6 kids altogether. So it's kind of a little hard to get everybody a backpack because they're all in school. All my kids are in school. So this is going to help us a lot.
Me siento bien, gracias por las mochilas que le están dando.
I feel very good. Thank you to the volunteers for sending kids backpacks. It helps the kids a lot and it is very important. They can put the homework and all the school supplies neatly inside the bag.
Hacer mejor sus cosas y traer sus cosas bien guardaditas en su mochila.
They've always been a great support, providing backpacks, winter clothes, things of that nature. And then we put the little banks in the classroom and the kids collect money for Tzu Chi. So we help to do our part a little bit too to give back.
The distribution process shares these blessings and the seeds of happiness to the children.
During the summer, Tzu Chi volunteers in the United States hosted camps for children. It gave the children an opportunity to really immerse themselves within the Tzu Chi family and understand how to protect the planet. The volunteers were glad to see how the children have grown since the first day of camp.
The Manhattan Liaison Office in New York is hosting a 5-day summer camp for the first time. The children are active and it's hard for the volunteers to maintain order. Some of the classes are full of energy while others are meant to calm their minds. No matter the lessons, the children are enriched in learning.
Many of the kids on the first day said they will only come one day and that's it. But in the end, they returned because they like it.
On the last day of camp, the students present themselves in a respectful manner while serving tea and also showcasing what they learned.
你最喜欢是什么
Art and craft.
Art and craft. How about you?
I like the making flowers.
Oh, okay, flower arrangement, right?
It's not difficult, I'm just fortunate. In the 5 days of the camp, I saw the kids transform from not knowing anything, scared and shy, to making good friends and learning of the Tzu Chi spirit.
Meanwhile, in Austin, Texas, volunteers are holding a similar camp. This is their 3rd year, where the activities are full of environmental protection concepts.
When I grabbed a tissue the other day, he said, if everyone used one tissue, then that's like cutting down 24 trees. He teaches me what he learned here, so I think the lessons taught here are very useful in daily life.
I have the hard time taking the kid home from camp each day. They don't want to leave.
Taking advantage of the summer vacation, children of the community got to know Tzu Chi, and little seeds of compassion have been planted in their hearts.
In Malaysia, a Tzu Chi recipient, Anjum, who comes from Pakistan, fled to Malaysia as a refugee. Because of the illness, she's unable to work, facing the financial difficulties. Thanks to Tzu Chi and UNHCR, she and her 2 sons get the chance to be placed in another country. Also, they vow to be volunteers to help more people through the difficulties when everything has settled down.
Anjun comes from Pakistan, and because of the family conflict, he flew to Malaysia. In her country, she is a Bachelor of Religious Studies, but in Malaysia, she is a refugee. She works in a restaurant and in a factory, and strives to keep her home, living with her 2 sons. She works hard. However, her fact is quite bitter and twisted.
I went to hospital, then they said this lady have colon tumor. That time was very difficult for me, very difficult.
UNHCR subsidized part of surgery expense for her. Although the scalpel cut off her tumor, she also lost her ability to work.
Because I am alone in this country, that's why I feel very uneasy, and that time I was very sad because I thought this disease is very dangerous. Maybe I will die. Afterwards, your organization people called me and come to my house.
Her case referred by UNHCR, she wasn't allowed to work. In fact, refugees in Malaysia can't work by law. Her children are in school, needing to pay tuition. She is facing the financial difficulties. As a mother, her children are facing problems here, and she has no way to work to show the responsibility of taking care of this family. This is a heavy burden.
First time when they come, they brought for me a lot of food. That time I don't have any food. When they came to my house, their behavior was very good, and my half tension finished that time. One other thing, they helped me same like a family member. And that time I never feel I am alone in this country.
God never closed a door without opening a window. A few months ago, Anjun received a notice from UNHCR, and she was placed in another country. This is a rare opportunity for refugees.
If I go to America, my all treatment finished, then I will try join your organization.
I want to help people because I have seen what difficulties do they have. I don't want anyone else to go through this.
Because I want to help people. Because your organization helped me a lot. I cannot forget. I cannot forget in my whole life.
As they are about to leave, Anjun and the children are packing together. However, they will bring their dream and the warmth that Tzu Chi gave them as they started a new journey in life.
Tzu Chis from Malaysia's Selangor and Kuala Lumpur are performing a musical adaptation of a Sutra of Filial Piety in November. Upon rehearsing, they have hosted an event to experience the hardship their mother went through to give birth to them. Let's take a look.
How difficult it is for our mothers to be pregnant, these young people experience it through games. Malaysia's Selangor and Kuala Lumpur Tzu Chis hosted a book club before performing the sign language musical drama. Experiencing pregnancy is one of the programs.
是一个气球装着水，然后当时我
It's a water balloon, so when I'm walking, I can feel the water flowing. I feel afraid. I try to walk slower in hopes that it can be stable. I imagine that if the water balloon is my child, I would be worried that it will be affected if I walk too fast.
They've experienced the inconvenience of movement when carrying a water balloon in their belly. Another activity is for Tzu Chis to experience nursing a baby for a week.
I have realized something when nursing a baby. When I was younger, I used to get mad at my parents for picking me up late. Now that I think back, my mother really spent all her time on children. How could I be angry at her for being late for just half an hour?
Parents' devotion to children is unfathomable. They have begun to understand parents' love through interpreting the sutra.
This mother is pretty and in good shape, right? But when she becomes a mother, she starts to lose her shape. However, every mom is willing to do so.
I used to be a very rebellious person and I do whatever I want. I did a lot of tattoos on my body. It's nothing to me, but my mom was very unhappy. After I experienced the pain of being pregnant for 10 months, I have a deep reflection. We really don't own our lives. We have our lives because our parents give it to us.
This picture is in the delivery room. There's really blood on the floor after my wife delivered the baby.
It's never too late to show filial piety. These young people have reflected what they learned in the sutra and practiced it in real life.
In Malaysia's Kedah Tzu Chi kindergarten, the 6-year-old students tied water balloons to their abdomens and experienced the 10-month hardship of their mothers during pregnancy. They were also inspired to be filial child during the process.
勇敢地拿，这是你的 baby， 不要怕。
Holding the water balloon with great care and put it inside the t-shirt, the 6-year-old students in Cadet Tzu Chi kindergarten are attending the pregnancy experience class. The water balloon is their fetus.
Be careful, stand up slowly. Let's ride, you have to hold it like this. Please go and sit there.
要走很慢很慢。
We need to walk slowly, and we cannot jump since we have a baby now.
在怀孕 baby。
This experience allows the students to imitate having a baby in their tummies and learn to overcome the inconvenience of life. It also includes simulation of maternity checkup.
我看到 baby 的时候，我
I feel very happy when I see the baby from the screen. I can see his head, his fingers, and his legs. I'll take good care of him and eat more vegetables.
要吃很多蔬菜。
It's hard to get through the discomfort of pregnancy. When it's time to give birth, it's also a big challenge.
我超生 baby 的时候，会很痛。
然后你还有想到谁？
妈咪。
为什么呢？
以前妈咪生我出来。
也是很痛哦。
Although the students cannot experience the actual 10-month hardship of their mothers during pregnancy, the 1-week experience has inspired them to practice filial without delay.
The 9/21 earthquake not only caused damage to houses and roads, but also the destruction of nature's flora and fauna, taking away all of the vegetation, causing wild animals to lose their food supply. Typhoons have also ravaged the Sito Nature Education area, and after 9/21 loosened rocks and soil, there were large-scale landslides, leading to temporary closure of the park.
The 9/21 earthquake caused Nantou County's Guoxing, Zhoufen, Ershan to see 195 hectares of slope collapse. 20 years later, the local area is now green and rich in flora and fauna. Researchers at the Endemic Species Research Institute, beginning 3 years ago, set up 10 infrared cameras in Zhoufen, Ershan to record wildlife movement.
2019 7月18号 J22。我刚好这是一只大冠鹫，飞起来了。
The camera is set at a footpath and records a lot of precious pictures of nature.
After 20 years of restoration, the entire ecosystem has slowly been accepted by animals. As long as we humans can reduce interferences in this natural environment, animals can find their way of surviving in this natural environment.
After the 9/21 earthquake, the Soil and Water Conservation Bureau took control of 265 hectares of land in Zhoufen and Arshan and set up the 9/21 Earthquake Memorial Park to promote reforestation.
The part that collapsed is not the rock face, which is not easy to handle, so we walk above it and below it, where we conducted a total of 3 reforestation actions using native plants.
南头草屯的99峰
The best-known area affected by the 9/21 earthquake, Jojo Peak of Nantou Taotun, virtually becoming a barren landscape, which was a catastrophe for animals and plants.
After the earthquake, many animals left here because it had no vegetation and no food, as well as no place to hide.
Later, according to the Cultural Asset Preservation Act, this area became a nature reserve, and it is forbidden to enter or alter the environment as the earth slowly recovered. Personnel from the Nantou Forest District Office made a complete record and observations of the area, including where the land collapsed in animal and plant ecology as well as environmental evolution.
We established this area as a natural reserve, and there are very few human disturbance here. This means that the animal and plants have had a good recovery.
Earthquake disasters are not the only threat, as in July 2001, Typhoon Toraji brought amazing rainfall. During the 9/21 earthquake, a large-scale earth rock flow occurred in the Sito Forest Recreation Area, where earth and rock came loose. The landslide destroyed much of the forest despite the difficult work of reforestation. The park then used ecological methods to reduce the amount of concrete construction and use various natural materials.
Like large blocks of stones are used, and for smaller stones, we put them in a cage for reinforcement.
Trying to change the water flow path so that when landslides occur, it will not cause a large-scale disaster.
We are not saying that we really want to fight against nature, but we hope that if landslides happen, they will only have a minor impact or change to the landscape. I don't want it to be a disaster in terms of lives and property.
Actively reforestation over the years has helped restore the natural landscape of the park.
These tree species have deep roots, so it is very helpful in soil and water conservation.
After many attempts to rebuild this area, nature is finally reborn and vitality has come back, which has never been seen before.
We have gone from less than 1 million visitors to the present where we get more than 2 million a year.
The 9/21 earthquake, in addition to the human casualties, was a great disaster for nature. Through environmental protection and ecological rehabilitation, the injured land is slowly recovering. Nature shows the power of destruction and regeneration, and it has given us a valuable lesson indeed.
Volunteers from Jiangsu province made mooncakes in response to the Lantern Festival. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you and goodbye.